Today I'm doing an anxiety Q&A. I've done one of these before, and I was going to do another one because I got lots of questions that time, but I lost all those questions, and so I have asked you again on my Instagram, which is Emily Rowe Mason. I've asked you again for some questions on anxiety that you are wondering or that you're experiencing and wanting to ask me, and so I've got lots and lots of questions. They're still coming through just now, but I am going to start. So the first question asks, what relaxation things do you do to help with anxiety that are helpful? So the main thing that I really love doing is lying in the bath with a nice bath bomb and reading a book. I think because I'm completely away from my phone, I am not able to use my phone, and I use my phone for work, and so I kind of am always on it when I'm working, when I'm just looking at my friend's stuff, whatever it is, I kind of am always on my phone. And so I think being in the bath, I'm not able to be on my phone. It is in the living room and I'm in the bathroom. And so reading in the bath, I just feel like it takes me away completely and I'm completely engrossed in something. And also the really nice smells from the bath water. I just find that so relaxing. Reading in general, I really enjoy as well. I also, sometimes when I'm feeling really worn out and really anxious, I'll have a nap on my sofa, and my sofa is the best thing. And also, right, I have this blanket, which is, on one side it's like I don't know if it's like suede kind of material, and the other side it's like faux fur, and it's weighted. It's very, very heavy. And I've read a lot of things about weighted blankets being good for you. I'm going to actually keep this. I've read a lot of things about weighted blankets being good for anxiety, and I've never had a proper weighted blanket. So yeah, this one is fairly weighted and it really helps me nap. It really helps me relax. Yeah. Another thing me and my boyfriend have recently been doing is if I'm feeling anxious and a bit like, oh, he will just like tickle my arm like that. Don't know if that sounds really weird. It's like just really, really relaxing for me, and I do it to myself as well. Just like, I don't know what that is, if it's the sensory, it's just really relaxing for me. And whenever I'm starting to feel really anxious, he'll do that or I'll do that, and I start to really feel a lot more calm. So there are 3 things that I found helpful. My next question is from Erin Grace Nick, and she asks, emetaphobe tips, what has helped you? What has helped me with emetophobia? I'm still definitely have a phobia. I still definitely have emetophobia. I'm not going to mention words to do with that phobia because I know they can be very triggering. I still definitely have it, but I have definitely, that fear started to reduce quite a lot. And for some reason the fear of that was replaced with the fear of a panic attack. And so I don't think it's actually, for me, emetophobia is not about the actual fear of the thing. It's about the fear of being out of control, because obviously you can't control that. So it's definitely, emetophobia is actually the fear of being out of control. I find for emetophobia having a routine. Also, I have asked people around me, and so people that know me really well won't talk about it around me because they know that can be quite triggering. But even when that happens now, there's been some times where something like around the phobia has happened around me. And I feel stressed and I feel anxious, but I don't feel threatened, I don't feel like petrified, I just feel a bit like that's not pleasant for me. Reasons for that, I'm not completely sure. I have been in therapy for a long time now, and that's definitely really, really, really helped. But also exposing yourself to the fear is definitely helpful, bit by bit. When you're ready as well, you need to be ready to be able to face this fear. You really need to be ready, and I'd say the main thing is to take your time and to not rush it and to just accept, yeah, I have a phobia. It's really horrible sometimes, and actually at times in my life it really just affected everything. Have you ever been ill? Like, do you get ill often? These questions are important to remember. Whenever I start to panic, I start to feel very unwell, but nothing bad ever happens. It's just the sensation. Yeah, that's a hard one. I think I'll do a whole video on that, because it's a very complex thing, and I think in the video I will make a disclaimer and say that I'm actually going to mention the word, but I'm not going to today, just in case there's somebody that is going to be triggered by the word. I thought this was a really good question from, oh, what is your name? Laura Ann, so Mlokoton. She asks, does the idea of having children someday make you anxious? I think this is a really good question because I think about this all the time. I really want to have children. In an ideal world where everything was great, I would like to have lots of kids. I'd like to adopt kids. I'd like to have my own children, all that kind of stuff. Realistically, that terrifies me. I get terrified at the thought of having panic attacks while having to look after children. When you have a panic attack, you're completely not able to move sometimes. You're not able to function in a normal way. And I wouldn't want my children to see that, and I wouldn't want them to have to deal with that. Also, I worry about being pregnant because when you're pregnant, there is a human being growing inside you, and your body is being controlled by this little human being. And a lot of women have a great pregnancy and go through it, and a lot of people I know that have been pregnant have had a pretty normal pregnancy. Nothing really has gone wrong. They obviously get tired and whatever towards the end, but they haven't had like severe things happen. But I just worry that I would get really, really unwell, and obviously I have a metaphorophobia, and so that is very scary for me. Generally, I think there's a lot of support and help out there, and people are definitely starting to understand that postnatal mental illness and prenatal mental illness and general mental illness is starting to be understood more, and I think there is a lot more support out there. And I think, to be honest, I think the good outweighs the bad when it comes to that, and I'm definitely not ready anytime soon to have children at all. I'm 23, but I definitely want to have children, and I think that's part of the reason I actually want to work on my anxiety now and really, really try and get better completely, because I want to have children one day and I want to be able to raise them when I'm well. So that was a really good question, I like that one. She also asked another question, which is, are there days when you feel your anxiety being particularly low? So I think you mean, are there days when my anxiety is like kind of not even there? And actually recently there has been days, I don't think there's ever days where I never think about anxiety. I don't think there's ever been a day where I've not thought about it in some shape or form, whether that's for that particular day or days coming up. But there's definitely days nowadays where I have very low anxiety days, where I feel like I can handle it and I feel quite confident and I feel like I'm doing really well. And recently I have been doing pretty well, and that sentence alone scares me a lot because it feels like I'm tempting fate a little bit. Touch wood, I'm going to carry on the good path, but yeah, I've been working really hard and I've been doing a lot of things, and I think things are starting to slow down and calm down a little bit, which is great. And yeah, things are definitely better at the moment, and I'm very lucky to have a good support system and to just be also being quite brave, and I think things have been going well, and there's definitely days where my anxiety is lower. I have another question that is, do you have any tips on how to handle anxiety when you're at work? So I currently have quite a few different jobs. So I have a job, I'm working with 3 different people, helping them with their social media for their businesses. And during that, I don't have much anxiety really. I think because all of those people know me and they know my social media online. So they know my YouTube and they know my Instagram, where I talk very openly about anxiety and panic disorder and all that kind of stuff. So everybody that I've met that I'm doing work for now in that way have definitely, I've not really been anxious in those situations yet. Maybe I will at some point, but I feel like I'd feel quite safe. I feel like I would just leave and go home if I felt really bad. But in my job that I've had since I had the job I've had for 4 years working in a bar, I've had that through thick and thin, and I've been at that job where I've been going through a really hard time, but also been having to go to work because I need to make money. So yes, how do I handle that when I'm at work? So when I'm at my bar work job, well, I'm very fortunate in all of my jobs that everybody around me is very supportive and aware of what I have. They're very aware that I have anxiety and that sometimes I'll need 5 minutes outside and that sometimes I'll need to switch job and go into the kitchen for a while or go in coffee machine for a while or whatever. And sometimes when it's really, really bad, I will need to go home. And the thing is with my anxiety is that's non-negotiable, is I will put my mental health first in every situation I'm in. And I'm quite fierce about that. And if I'm in a situation where I feel very, very panicky, I need to just remove myself, maybe take medication, maybe go to my mum and dad's house. I need to do something to calm myself down, because if not, who knows what will happen. If I'm feeling anxious at work and I'm not feeling panicky, one of the things I've done is I've written a list of all the things that I can do when I'm at work. So I work in a bar, so cleaning the bottles, cleaning the coffee machine, a lot of them are cleaning based, organising different parts of the bar, all that kind of stuff, talking to customers, all these things. So I've written a list of all the things I can do at work and I'm feeling anxious. That seems to really help, just having a whole list of things I can do when I'm feeling anxious has really helped. So also I would say talking to your boss or manager and saying I have quite severe anxiety disorder, or however you want to word it. Sometimes I might need to go outside for 5 minutes and calm down. My boss has known I have anxiety since before I started working there, so I was fortunate in the way that I didn't need to like come out, so to speak. I just had to go, and she knew about my condition and she was very, very understanding and tolerant of the fact that sometimes I need to go outside, I need to calm down, or sometimes I need to go into the kitchen, I need to calm down, sometimes I might be crying in the kitchen. Try and remember that everybody at your work has emotions, and everybody, including your boss and including your supervisor, they all have emotions, they all have things. They will have all probably felt anxious before. They might not have all had panic attacks and experienced what you're experiencing, but they will have all had shit going in their life. And so they will actually probably be a lot more tolerant than you think, because we're all human beings on this planet, you know? Yeah, I went off on a massive tangent there, I'm so sorry. But that was all the questions I'm going to answer, because I've just really rambled for so long. If you have any other questions, I will answer them down below. So if you want to comment a question that you're wondering, I will answer in the comments. Or if you have some good ideas for things you want me to do a whole video on, whether it's emetophobia, panic attacks, anxiety at work, I'm happy to do a whole video on them as well. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!